What is going on, everybody? We're here and we are live. I'm not feeling very good today. Still getting over being sick after the convention. Beardo I feel like he's back to full health. What's up, Beardo?
Yeah, man, that con crud hit me hard earlier this week, but I'm finally feeling about 100%. I'm good, man. I'm good. We got MLB spring training is just around the corner. Have pitchers and catchers reported yet?
They should by now.
Probably. I think so, yeah.
Okay.
I believe so, yeah.
So, yeah, man, I'm excited for the MLB season, and that's pretty much it. Aaron Rodgers news and, you know.
We actually haven't talked all together about the
Super Bowl.
Yet. Yeah, I mean, that was a week ago.
Well, me and you have, yeah.
Yeah, but we haven't talked about it, so we can talk about that today. What a surprise, people getting shot in Philly. It was big news when there was a shooting at the parade in San Francisco. If there's a shooting at a fucking parade in Philly, that's not really big.
Wait, no, there was a shooting in the parade in Missouri.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, last year.
You said San Francisco.
Or, sorry, Kansas City. Whatever. Yeah. The only shots that happen in San Francisco are fucking gay dudes cum in other gay dudes' assholes. That's the only shots that are being fired there. But John Matrix from Black and White Sports, what's up, man?
Not much, man. Going good. I'm relaxing and enjoying the weekend here. I actually shot a video on the reason why that shooting happened in the Philadelphia Super Bowl parade is so dumb. Over a porta potty. Somebody cut the line and they said, all right, I'm going to fuck you up.
That's your typical Philly scumbags for you.
Yep.
Pretty much.
That's what it is. People in Philly, Pennsylvania in general, but Philly, they're a bunch of fucking degenerate, inbred, retarded fucking scumbags in Philly.
Look, we like basically knew when the Kansas City thing happened too. It's like, okay, looks like it's a bunch of fucking gangbanger, fake wannabe thug pieces of shit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what happened with Kansas City. So, yeah.
They died.
We also got to talk about... Go ahead.
No, the ones that arrested.
Go ahead.
The ones that were doing it, that did the shooting. I haven't heard anything about it.
In Philly or Kansas City?
No, in Kansas City.
What about in Kansas City?
No, the guys that they arrested for the shootings, whatever happened to them? Did they get? Pretty sure one of them got life in prison for sure. Somebody died.
Yeah, one of the shooters died there.
Really?
Sorry, Ryan.
Yeah, I have no idea. We know I don't even know if they've been fully through the process of going through.
I don't think so either.
Trials like that can take a while, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, you're probably right.
But also it's NBA All-Star Weekend and the NHL. Instead of doing their typical NHL All-Star Weekend, we got the Four Nation Face-Off, and I got to be honest with you guys, that was so much more entertaining than the NBA All-Star Game Saturday, and it wasn't even close. We're going to talk about that a little bit today, and I'm not going to lie, I'm not a big hockey guy. I really don't follow it all that often, but when you have these fucking Canadian cocksucking pieces of shit that are constantly booing our national anthem every time it takes place just because they can't stand that they're fucking irrelevant and gay up in Canada. And then you have Americans beating the shit out of Canadians, not only with their fists, but also on the ice in the game. It's a great story. So we have to talk about that today. There's no doubt. But we might as well get started with talking about the Super Bowl a little bit. And you know, we're now a week removed. It seems like we're a month removed from it. But obviously in the immediate aftermath, everyone is just going to take oh my God, Patrick Mahomes, the GOAT debate is over now. And even though we were talking about it now we can't talk about it. And all of this fucking shit. They laid an egg. Kansas City
They got their dicks kicked in.
That game was over
at halftime. That was an absolute beat down. That was worse than the Kansas City Tampa Bay Super Bowl.
Oh yeah.
Because even though Kansas City got touchdowns in this, 2 of those touchdowns came in garbage time.
Against the second teamers.
Yeah.
Like that one to Xavier Worthy late was against second team, although it was still a fucking great throw. And they're probably playing "Don't let him get behind you," and he fucking gets.
And
right
the Eagles
didn't
care, man. They just want the clock to run out.
Yeah, they had already dumped Gatorade by that point in time.
Yeah.
At 2 minutes and 30 seconds left, they dumped Gatorade on Sirianni. Ryan was like, because we were at the Super Bowl party, Ryan was like, the game was over. And I'm like, that's early, bro. To dump Gatorade before the 2-minute warning, that's a fucking big balls move right there to do that.
I was shooting my video with like 2:30 left, and when I was shooting the video, I said, "Oh, Mahomes got a touchdown, garbage time." So I didn't even see that one.
Yeah, they would have had to fucking get like 3 or 4 straight onside kicks and score in the immediate aftermath. They had no time. There was no chance of them coming back in the game. No. I have no issue with a Gatorade dump at 2 minutes and 30 seconds, whatever.
Kansas City couldn't even get past the 50 until like late in the third quarter.
No, there was a point in the first half where the Eagles had more first downs than the Chiefs had yards.
Yeah. Mahomes had like 23 yards passing at halftime or something like that. Somewhere around. It was, man, he was bad.
And there's a lot of clips about looking at Travis Kelce. He was just loafing, just zero effort on a lot of plays. Like the one specific play was Patrick Mahomes when he's scrambling, and he eventually scrambled and did get a first down. But Travis Kelce's just standing there, just looking. He's not even trying to get open. He's not trying to block or anything. He's just standing there, just loafing around.
He's old and slow, man.
Yeah, that is. And when people are like trying to make these comparisons between Kelce and Gronk, it's impressive the longevity and the runs that Travis Kelce has had and all of this stuff. But you can't look at the way Travis Kelce plays and compare it to Gronk when Gronk's healthy at the top of his game and all this shit.
A healthy Gronk was way better than Travis Kelce
in every aspect of the game.
An injured Gronk.
Yeah.
An injured Gronk is better than Travis Kelce 100%.
People don't people forget what a great blocker Gronkowski was.
Gronk was a great blocker.
Yes,
an absolutely great blocker, and that's a weakness of Travis Kelce's game, and certainly we saw that crop up at times during this Super Bowl. Some of the pressures were because Travis Kelce was really lazy on some of these chips that he had on the outside.
Gronk used to bully guys.
Retire or not? Yeah. We'll see.
Gronk used to bully guys like Terrell Suggs and Ray Lewis. Gronk was one-on-one bullying these guys. Legends.
Yeah. Because you remember before the passing era, man, the tight end was primarily a blocker. They caught balls, but they were never really the primary targets. Now they are.
Yeah. And obviously one of the big things going on was the officials. They've already rigged it for shitty. Yeah, that clearly wasn't the case. It never was the case. We talked about that a lot. Yeah. One of the other things
you can't rig interceptions and fumbles.
Philly's defense, man.
Oh, of course you fucking can. That's what all these dumb cocksucking pieces of shit, John, have been saying this entire time. Well, if he throws a bad pass, they're just gonna throw a flag. They're gonna make up a phantom call. That's what they've been saying. Has been happening.
The thing is,
all
one of those
year long. So don't give me that shit.
Both of those Mahomes interceptions were bad interceptions. Yeah. They were bad.
And then. Also, one of the other things that I thought was laughable leading up to this, and I'm sure there's several people here in the chat that said, I boycotted it. It hurt them. Everybody fucking watched the Super Bowl, the most viewed Super Bowl of all time. The handful of people that were saying, I'm going to boycott this because of this reason, didn't happen.
Now, it was on Tubi, so that bumped up the numbers a little bit.
Oh my God! It's on a fucking. People watched it on a
nationally
platform.
televised.
Yeah.
But yes, there was no impact from that. There never was going to be an impact from that, and it's fine for people in their circles if they think that this is going to matter. It didn't. It was high. The thing that I thought might keep the viewership down overall was not we're boycotting. It wasn't that. It was the fact that if it was a blowout. We tend to see decreased numbers later on just because people don't keep it on if it's fucking 40-6. And so who knows how high it would be an actual competitive game.
I think Trump left early though when the game was out of hand. I don't know if he
I think
planning to be there the whole time or not.
With this Super Bowl in particular, Ryan's right. Like for most Super Bowls, if it's a blowout, you're going to see people start tuning out. But people didn't care. Your viewers and strong NFL fans. They did not care if this Super Bowl in particular was a blowout. People wanted to see the Chiefs get their asses fucking kicked and curb stomped in. I loved it. I loved every single moment of it. Would it have been cool if it was a good, close game? Sure. But it was just as good watching the Chiefs get fucking shit stomped.
Yeah, this is a throwback because when I was a kid, man, just about every Super Bowl was a blowout. I mean, the Cowboys blew out everybody. The 49ers blew out everybody. It really wasn't until like the Patriots in the 2000s where I would say post salary cap era is when the Super Bowl started getting tighter. And
well, what
all those
about
Patriots Super Bowls are close? What
what
about
about Rams Tennessee? That game came down to the 1 yard line.
Oh yeah, 1999. Yeah, yeah, that was good. But for the most part, when I was a kid, 80s, 90s, they were all blowouts. They weren't even competitive.
Yeah, and we've had handfuls. I mean, obviously the Seattle,
Broncos.
Denver,
Seattle and Denver.
Yeah,
Seattle,
that game was
Denver,
over. That game was over in the first quarter.
Yeah, but it does seem like, well, and we've had kind of fucking shit games. Like, was it Patriots Rams? Like that Super Bowl was one of the most boring ones we've seen.
Zero passing touchdowns in that Super Bowl.
No, was it Seahawks, Steelers? Roethlisberger's first Super Bowl.
That game was awesome.
He was terrible though.
But that game was great. Antoine Randall with the touchdown pass.
I'm trying to remember.
New Bears wide receiver coach Antoine Randall, by the way.
John Alexander, Matt Hasselbeck,
but
Ty Ward.
The last we obviously had the game going to overtime last year, which was a crazy ending. We know everything that happened in the 28-3 with the Atlanta and New England. Saw pretty crazy ratings, and that's one of the things. If these games are close, people will be tuning in. People will stay tuned in when these games are close. And if it's a blowout, doesn't tend to usually happen that way. That was the one thing I was wondering when it came to this. Is that going to have a big impact? And I'm sure it did have an impact, right? I'm sure not as many people hung on to the very end as normal, but still really big numbers for Eagles Chiefs. The thing when you look at the Chiefs, they have a couple old guys like Travis Kelce or whatever. They've also got a lot of young pieces. Rashee Rice. Yeah. Rashee Rice was their number one wide receiver heading into this year. Who Patrick Mahomes fucking blew his knee out after trying to tackle somebody on that pick.
Right.
So he'll be back next year. Hopkins was basically a non-factor in this game, and it's kind of been a non-factor all year long.
He's on a decline too.
He's old, man.
Oh, yeah.
He's old. So we'll see what happens with them next year. I don't think there's any possibility that Andy Reid steps aside. I think he's willing to coach at least another year, maybe two. And we'll see what happens to this Chiefs team. It's hard to fucking three-peat, certainly.
Yeah, it is.
And they came out and played one of the worst games we've seen them play in probably 5 years.
Yeah, and by the way,
you're not wrong.
If Travis Kelce comes back, the Chiefs are ready to demote him. So you will not be the primary target. So he's going to have to weigh that also.
He hasn't been the primary target all season long.
But they're really
this year in particular.
They're really about to push him back now.
But it's interesting to look at Travis Kelce's narrative during media week leading up to the Super Bowl. I want to play 3 more years.
Exactly.
I don't have any intentions on retiring. Why would I retire when our team is this good? I feel like I'm still in my prime. I want to play 3 more years. And just a few days ago on his podcast with his brother, he's like, yeah, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to contemplate retiring and everything. And I think the Chiefs are giving him until March 14th?
Yeah,
March
so they don't have to
14th
pay him that roster bonus. They don't want to pay him.
So they're giving him till March 14th to decide if he's going to retire or come back. So he's, already informed the Chiefs. Listen, I don't know if I am coming back.
I think he'll be back. I think
he thinks that he has a career in acting. I think he wants to be in TV shows and movies and shit.
He's about to be in Happy Gilmore too.
Well.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
We'll see how that goes. Zenny Biscuit for $5 magnitude at 43-1 takes the Rising Star and earns a place in the Derby. A 43-1 long shot. That's crazy, Zenny Biscuit. Thank you for the horse racing update. Alex McCarthy, Orlando fan since 08. Matt's three-peat sure is great. Matt McClung, yes. Listen, past 3 years, we got white boys winning the dunk contest during Black History Month. And
Taste.
I'm going to talk a little bit about that later, but when you have the problem with the dunk contest is that it's not people that fucking matter. McClung is a G leaguer. He's a fucking G leaguer who gets signed to these contracts just to participate in the slam dunk contest because he's a great dunker, but he's not a good NBA player. He's not even an NBA player.
They put a G leaguer in the dunk contest and he won?
For the 3 straight years, John. John, this is your fucking culture. You should know this.
I've been out on the NBA for a while, so I didn't even know this. The All-Star game, in quotation, is supposed to be today. I mean, who wants to watch pickup basketball as an All-Star game?
About the same amount of people who want to watch flag football. But Matt McClung he's a short, well, relatively, he's 6'2", right? Short for the NBA, certainly. He's a short, white dude with crazy hops, great dunker, puts on an awesome show, but he's not an NBA player. So you can't, that doesn't matter to most people. Yeah. You got a bunch of guys, young guys in the league that participate in these, and then the one dude who's dominating isn't even a real fucking player. You need people that are relevant in the NBA if you want the slam dunk contest to matter. And there are guys, like, I would love to see Ja Morant out there in the slam dunk competition, right? Zion, when he first came in, I would have loved to see him do the dunk competition. But these guys are too fucking scared. They're too scared about their credibility. They're too scared that they'll
stars
fucking
don't
lose.
do it anymore, man. LeBron set a bad precedent, man, by never doing it.
He did. LeBron did set a bad precedent. And so do we have awesome, sick dunks from Mac McClung? Yeah. But it's from a G leaguer. It doesn't really matter. It's like would we care about the home run derby if you just have a fucking minor leaguer come in who all he can do is hit home runs and he just fucking hits a bunch of bombs and walks away? No. Because that person isn't fucking relevant. The best home run derby competitions were the ones when McGuire and Sosa and fucking Bonds and Griffey and all these guys.
The stars are playing.
And when the stars are doing it, that's when it's at its best. And that has to be the same thing for the fucking NBA. And it's not to take anything away from Mac McClung. He's a fucking great dunker. But he's not an NBA player, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah. You might as well be grabbing one of these fucking like YouTube dunkers, right, and throwing them in there for all the impact that it has.
I will say this, man. I do think, even though I believe this pickup basketball thing is garbage, it still sounds light years better than the NFL playing flag football.
Well, look, for a while, the NBA All-Star Game has... Even 20 years ago, the NBA All-Star Game,
it's still high scoring.
It's still high scoring. They're still fucking around. They're still playing a little lackadaisical, like whatever. But people would let each other show off. But when it came down to that fourth quarter, it fucking mattered.
Yeah.
Right? It mattered. You guys remember when like Kobe Bryant got fucking Jordan in his last All-Star game hits that fucking fadeaway to go up, and then Kobe gets fouled from 3. Like, these guys fucking cared. They cared a lot. And now between making it, East versus West, now we're gonna do captains and all this.
That's another mistake, man. East versus West, you got to bring it back.
Like, ultimately, the problem, and it's the same problem with the NFL, is that people don't care about it, right? The main problem with all of these All-Star games right now are that the people who are participating, the best players in the world in their given sport, they don't care. Well, we had a lot of people caring last night, not about NBA All-Star Saturday, but instead about hockey. And as I've said multiple times, I think you guys know this, I'm not some huge hockey fan by any stretch of the imagination. But on the same night where usually you would think that the NBA has all of the attention, Mac McClung, a dunk contest three-peat, a guy who's a G League player comes in, puts on phenomenal dunks. A lot of people instead were watching hockey, not the NHL All-Star game that they've tried to evolve, but instead they decided, you know what? We're just going to do the Four Nations face-off. We're going to get people to care about their countries. We're going to get people to root for these players, and we're going to have some round-robin tournament action. And because it's in Canada right now, and Canadians fucking hate America so much right now that they boo every time the national anthem's played, it feels like that is one of the huge reasons why there was so much attention on this. Watch Canadian fans in Montreal boo the U.S. anthem at Four Nations face-off. And not only did the United States beat the shit out of Canada last night on the ice, but after the United States national anthem was booed, we had some people working out some things. Imagine seeing a fight at the NBA All-Star game. That's what we saw. 3 fights in essentially 10 seconds to begin this game after they booed. Let's watch a little bit of this. I saw Byron Donalds tweeting this out, actually. You're going to drop the gloves right away. Now, this is 2 seconds into the game.
Good.
Immediately on the face-off, they drop the gloves and get into it.
Yep. Sam Bennett, Brady Kachuk.
Now another one. 1 more second has elapsed, right?
What a tilt. What a Miller. And Miller dropped the gloves and Parrega's going to answer.
And now another fight taking place. That was basically 5 seconds later. There was 3 fights in the first 10 seconds. And, Canada did score first, and then the United States, I think, with 3 unanswered goals.
Scores! Team tied as Team USA has...
And they fucking cared, right? All of the people on the floor on the ice cared about this. And I think that's one of the biggest things. And this is dominating for the NHL. The Four Nations face-off is dominating their All-Star game viewership. And who knows what it's going to match up to the NBA All-Star game, which it seems like no one fucking cares about right now. But, man, between the national pride involved, between the players on the ice actually giving a shit, hockey put on a great show over this weekend. There's no doubt about it.
Mm-hmm.
Man, 3 fights in first 10 seconds.
Yes.
Is that a little bit of revenge also for booing the national anthem, you think?
Oh, 100%. There's a lot of that going on. A lot of these guys have, beefs just in general. But yeah, sitting there every freaking hockey game, these damn Canucks are booing the U.S. national anthem. Fucking stay in your own league, create your little, do your fucking Canadian Hockey League, whatever the fuck, right?
They do realize that the NHL is an American hockey league. It's not a Canadian hockey league.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. But yeah, I know, I don't know if you guys actually got an opportunity to watch it or not, but I was flipping between freaking All-Star Saturday and this was far more entertaining to me than anything they put on an All-Star Saturday night. And just fucking, this is like the perfect example of All-Star Saturday. Okay? All eyes on it. Everybody wants to see the stars. Wemby's out there. And Chris Paul and Victor Wembanyama decide, hey, instead of doing the skills competition the way we should, we're going to try to game the fucking system. And instead of being forced to sit there and try to make these jump shots, we're just going to fire everything as fast as we can and move on. This is what they tried to do.
There's 3. What's the start? That's the start that each team is going to want. Oh, he's not even worried about this shot. They're just going for time. Look at this.
Oh my God.
So I get it, right? Thinking you can like game the fucking system to try to win. But imagine these people that actually paid to fucking go watch this.
Right.
And instead of seeing the skills competition, you see Chris Paul leading one of the, young sensations of the NBA and saying, hey, let's just try to fucking cheat our way through this.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Now, I wonder if everyone is going to adopt this. Wait a minute.
No wonder nobody watches the NBA.
Are being shot to the very
Like
Kevin
wants-
Harlan is trying to do his very fucking best to try to make this like exciting, but what a fucking piss poor thing to do.
Yeah.
Well, and he was what he was saying there was the crowd's pissed off at it.
Yeah.
Like the fact that they're trying because they want to see them
Give an
demonstrate
effort.
their skills
Mhm.
at the NBA skills competition. And we know that Chris Paul, one of his skills has been like to try to fucking find a way to cheat any way he fucking can, right? We know that. But it's just sad, dude.
Yeah,
It's
I was never a fan of the skills competition. I was always more old school. I like the 3-point and dunk contest. When they came out with the skills competition, I was like, I don't really like this. I never enjoyed it anyway. But that's really pathetic right there.
We should at least watch a couple of Mac McClung's dunks. Let's see. We should at least do a couple. We can watch this one here. So Mac McClung, who doesn't even really play for the fucking Magic, is basically a G leaguer. Here's some of the dunks he threw out. He brought in a car, and listen, this jump over this car is way more impressive than Blake Griffin's jump over the car, just for the record.
Gotta catch it first. Marty. Oh my God. Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Matt.
And it looks better because he's short for an NBA player.
He's 6'2".
Yeah.
Wow.
He's 6'2", and he's jumping over actually the highest point of the fucking car. That's a fucking hell of a
Man.
dunk. That's awesome,
Yeah.
right?
It is.
The dude can't play in the NBA.
Marty. Oh my God. Allow me to reintroduce myself.
Here's the next one.
Commentary is so cringe.
Yep. Oh, no, come on, bro. Come on, bro.
I wonder if they get the replay in
Yeah.
this one. Because this one's not
Barry Bonds.
here.
Yeah, that's Barry Bonds.
This dunk's way more impressive in slow motion. He's like freezing in midair before he turns around and finishes the dunk.
Let them sing in the background.
Glamorous life going on. I got
That's
you.
it, man. We don't need anything else like
This one was kind of crazy. Put dunk two balls.
as he's spinning. Spin, young man. Oh, no! Vince Carter, you
That's impressive. I just wish they wouldn't use props.
But one of the problems is we've fucking seen. It's tough.
I understand
Like,
that.
what else can you do?
It's tough to get creative after so many, there's only so much you can do.
Yeah, so basically on this one, if you can't see, this guy's got a ball that he's just holding above the rim. This guy's fucking spinning. He goes up, fucking puts one home, grabs the other one, and fucking dunks it in. And then
That is impressive, though.
this one, I mean, this guy's pretty fucking tall, and he's standing on like a couple-inch plate here.
I think he's gonna put it behind his back. First time. Because we couldn't see.
Now that one doesn't look super impressive immediately, but watch the fucking replay.
Watch. Get to here. Hits the
Oh, look at his eyes. Look at his head.
That's for concentration.
Boom.
Oh, my God.
That's over.
Because I couldn't tell what he did at first.
Exactly. That's one where, like, if you just see it like from a certain angle, and you can't even fucking tell. This 6'2" motherfucker's eyes are at the rim.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not one of those where he cheats and pushes off, right? Like, he's just
Get
got
to here.
fucking hot.
Hits the
Oh, look at his eyes. Look at his head.
That's for concentration.
Boom.
Man.
So
He's a real life Billy Hoyle.
dude's a great dunker, right? And he puts on a show. He gets the crowd into it. But the only reason anyone knows Mac McClung's name is because of this, not because of anything else he does. So, I don't know. All right. Where am I? Bubba Wallace eats dick, says Stephen De Leon. We're going to talk about Bubba Wallace in a sec. Beer Dog, can we get a shout
Shut
out?
up!
Oh, shut up. For Bubba Wallace. There we go. Wolfsbane for you can replace the skills game with 15 minutes 2v2s. Look, say what you will about the fucking cringe, dumb women's basketball 3-on-3s that they're doing. They did like 1-on-1s with people, right? Nobody in the fucking NBA would do that because they're too scared. They're too scared of getting embarrassed. Sean H, what do you think is worse? 48 or 43-8 in the Super Bowl or 40-6?
48-3?
So, or
43-8.
Sorry, that was the Seahawks Broncos one, right?
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, the Seahawks one felt like it was over far before.
It was the first
far
play
before the
was
Chiefs game felt like it was over.
Because when the snap went over Peyton Manning's head, the Broncos completely shit themselves after that.
I remember I was at a Super Bowl party watching. I was like, yeah, this game's over with.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Broncos looked scared in that game.
I think the Seahawks Broncos one was more jarring and worse because that Broncos team, that offense,
they were
that was
a record-breaking team.
Statistically, that was the best offense that we've ever seen, and still probably the best offense that we've ever seen. Absolutely stacked with Peyton Manning, Demaryius Thomas, Eric Decker, Julius Thomas, Noshawn Moreno, CJ Anderson. That fucking team was stacked. They had Wes Welker too. That team was incredible on offense all year. That's the year that Peyton Manning set all the records with 55 touchdowns and 5,500 passing yards to break the record too. Absolutely insane. And then we see them in the Super Bowl and just laid a goose egg, bro. Yeah, I think that one was worse.
Bad. Yeah, because this Chiefs team, they weren't built to come from behind. This Chiefs team never scored 30 all season. They were very, very mediocre on offense.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but even with that being said, even after the Cooper DeJean pick 6, right? Which did that make it 17-0?
Yeah.
Even after that, it didn't feel like it was out of reach. It was like, okay, they get the ball back. If they score, they get the ball after halftime.
Yeah.
Okay, like you need to score. But that fucking Broncos game felt like it was done almost right after the first series.
As far as this Super Bowl goes, when it got to 24-0, I knew the game was over.
There was a point.
I knew the Chiefs weren't going to score 30 to win.
Right, and there was a point in the second half where the Eagles were just kicking field goals until that big Devontae Smith touchdown. But the Eagles were just kicking field goals, just chipping away, and then you had that big play.
The Chiefs defense, I know obviously there's a lot of fucking points scored. The Chiefs defense did a pretty fine job considering all the positions they were put in throughout the entire fucking game. Constantly short fielded, constant turnovers, all of that stuff. But
Jalen Hurts made some big runs though.
Jalen Hurts, listen, Jalen Hurts, as much as I've shit on him and as much as I think he's a pretty fucking average quarterback, and as much as I think the Chiefs literally just sold out completely to stop the fucking run, that was their game plan. That's what they did. Jalen Hurts did exactly what he had to do. He played really well. He played really well in the NFC Championship game and played really well in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Did you guys notice
I don't think he's worth $60 million, but he did what he had to do, and now they're Super Bowl champions.
You notice that
roster from top to bottom on offense, on defense is the best in the NFL.
Yeah. Did you notice that every Patrick Mahomes dick licker in the media immediately went silent on the GOAT talk? They refused to even acknowledge it. Even Nick Wright, who is like, I think that dude got Patrick Mahomes' dick from his ass to his mouth. He's so all in on Mahomes. Even he took a step back. And it was just crazy because he had like Mahomes like number 2 like 5 years ago, which is completely insane.
The thing is, one, the reason we always have these GOAT debates is not necessarily because the people are deserving or whatever. It's all about potential. What if this happens? What if this happens? Could you see a scenario where this happens? Because it's fucking entertaining to talk about, right? We've seen the same stupid fucking retarded shit with LeBron for forever. And
well, I think
LeBron never had any fucking opportunity to be the greatest of all time.
I think that people see what Tom Brady did and think that's really achievable. That shit is not achievable, man. That's damn near impossible.
The reason it's been connected to Patrick Mahomes is because of his age and what he's done so far.
Right.
And when you look at the fact that, well, now he's 3-2, Tom Brady was 3-2. The thing is, Brady did it a fucking decade apart.
Mm-hmm.
That's the crazy part. And I don't think there's anyone who actually thinks Patrick Mahomes can do that. I think everyone thinks that if Patrick Mahomes could ever fucking win 6 or 7 Super Bowls, it has to be within the next fucking 5 or 6 years where that happens.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see Patrick Mahomes ever having the same type of longevity that Tom Brady had.
No, his style of play is not gonna. Yeah, the way he plays is not gonna allow him to play like that. I think Mahomes. Some people already saying he's declining already based on the past 2 seasons. He has a window because he's gonna be 30 this year. A good 4 to 5 years to actually do something. Because after he hits like 35, I believe it's definitely a wrap.
Yeah. But you can't just ignore the what Mahomes has done in a very short period of time. 5 Super Bowls, 3 victories. Like you can't just throw that out the window.
Yeah.
Because the reason we have these discussions is it's based on projecting, right? It's not because we know what's happened. It's not because we know what will happen. It's talking about, could this be possible if he stays on this current trajectory? And the trajectory that Patrick Mahomes had been on before this game, and even to a certain extent after this game,
right?
It makes him basically one of the only people that it would even be fucking possible in the game right now,
but
for them to eventually match those type of
numbers. That's not what the media was saying. They were already putting him in that GOAT conversation. Yes. They weren't saying if he does this, if he wins 1 or 2 more Super Bowls, maybe he'll be in the conversation with Brady. They were already fucking putting him there.
If you look at the stats of Tom Brady in the Super Bowl versus Patrick Mahomes, it's Brady by a mile. It's not even close. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is 10 TDs to 7 interceptions. We already talked about how those last 2 came in garbage time.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Brady's his passer rating is 10 points higher.
Yeah,
it's not even close.
Mahomes now has 2 blowout losses in the Super Bowl.
One of them to Tom Brady.
Right? We've never seen that yet. Like that. Ultimately, that's the thing. Even if Patrick Mahomes goes on to win another couple Super Bowls, puts up crazy numbers, all this stuff, we still have a 43-year-old Tom Brady beating him head-to-head in the fucking Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Tom Brady's losses are way different. I mean, that first Super Bowl against the Giants, remember, he actually had the quote-unquote game-winning touchdown pass with 2 minutes left. He did what he always did, hit Randy Moss, touchdown, and then they don't get the ball back until 20 seconds left, I believe. And then the helmet catch and everything, we know how that went down.
Mm-hmm. I know how it went down.
We all do.
Emilio with 20 gifted memberships.
Thanks, Emilio.
Shout out to our man Emilio. Thanks, buddy. Mick Walsh, Mr. Pfizer, is too busy dressing up like a pimp. He's just old.
He's old, man.
Wolf Mob for 2. Jeremy gave up on this show. Ryan, you're killing it. Jeremy doesn't fucking know anything about what he's talking about anyway. So, Hugh Richard Bradshaw for 2. For 5, Randall L was sick at IU. Go Hoosiers. Go Badgers. I mean, fuck Antoine Randall L for being from IU, just for the record. But yeah, he was a quarterback at IU and went on to be a gadget wide receiver in the NFL. Now he's coaching wide receivers. And now he's a coach for the Chicago fucking Bears, by the way. Garth Knight for 5. Kellen Moore to the Saints has all the trappings of a Mormons Gone Wild video once he experiences New Orleans.
Yeah, I'm still not sure how I feel about that one.
Kellen, let's run this back. And Kellen's like, bye, bitch.
Yep. And it looks like Kellen Moore
just stayed in New Orleans.
Looks like they're going to cut Taysom Hill. They're going to save $10 million in salary cap if they cut Taysom Hill.
It was a retarded contract to give Taysom Hill that much money for what he does. But somebody else that's moving on are the New York Jets. The New York Jets, after bringing in Aaron Glenn, who I think Aaron Glenn's actually going to be a really good head coach for the New York Jets if they can figure things out there. But he's going to need to find a quarterback because it is not going to be Aaron Rodgers. They officially made the decision. They're moving on from Aaron Rodgers. And according to some of these rumors and reports, Aaron Rodgers really wanted to stay there.
Yep.
There's reports that Aaron Rodgers is basically pleading to stay with the Jets before they decided to part ways. And this season started off really bad. And when you look at his numbers, maybe in the aftermath of the season, you're like, oh, that doesn't look absolutely terrible. But when you look at the way it looked on the field, when you look at how out of some of these games that they were, when you look at all the drama that went down surrounding coaches getting fired, all this stuff that happened, Aaron Rodgers did not work for this team, and they want a fresh start and they want to move on. But that really begs the question, where does Rodgers go? I mean, he could go to Minnesota and complete the Favre journey.
Yeah. Yep.
But I don't think that's very realistic with the pieces we know Minnesota already has.
At his age, he's 40? Is he 41? Or he's going to be
41, something like that.
Yeah.
At his age, he definitely wants to go to a team he thinks is on the brink of being a quarterback away. I mean, if I was him, I'm doing that or I'm retiring.
You had a player for the Steelers, I forget his name, but earlier this week says he was asked about Rodgers going to Pittsburgh. He says, leave that bum in the retirement home. Oof. So
I don't think there's a lot of options.
No. Well, if we're going to take what Colin Cowherd had said this past week, and, I take everything Cowherd says with a grain of salt. The Rams are trying to move on from Matt Stafford. They're trying to acquire draft picks. And I guess the Rams front office is not too pleased with Matt Stafford's wife's new podcast. She opens up her mouth and says some stupid shit sometimes. So they're trying to acquire draft picks. They're going to do a little bit of a rebuild. The Rams probably want a placeholder, veteran quarterback. So if the Rams move on from Matt Stafford, I think the Rams could be a good spot for Aaron Rodgers for the next 2 years. And then give them time because I don't like any of the quarterbacks in this draft. I don't think any of them are going to be your franchise leading quarterbacks that are going to take you to the Super Bowl. I think they're all pretty much bums coming out of the draft this year. So if the Rams move on from Matt Stafford, let's say the Giants trade for Matt Stafford, which has been heavily rumored, the Rams could go and sign Aaron Rodgers, and you sign him for 2 years, and you didn't have to waste any draft picks getting him.
Look, man, as much as I respect Aaron Rodgers for always speaking his mind, I've always felt that the dude has a massive fucking ego and kind of tears teams apart. And that's kind of what we witnessed go on here. I think I don't think he's a very good leader.
No, right? He's never been.
Right.
I don't think that Aaron Rodgers is a very good leader. And when you're a quarterback, you are expected to fulfill that role. I think he does the opposite of that. I think he cares a lot about himself. Like, do you remember when the Jets were like 2-4 or some shit, and they traded for Devontae Adams, and Aaron Rodgers goes on the Pat McAfee show and like reveals Devontae Adams, they're like smiling. These fucking queers are giggling as their team is just dog shit. They've got a coach fired, like all of this stuff. And of course, we saw the rest of the season played out. I respect the hell out of Aaron Rodgers' talent on the field. I just don't think he's a leader, and I think he's a team killer in terms of the buzz surrounding those teams. And so I don't think it really matters where he goes. I don't think it's going to work. I just don't. And he's fucking old.
And he's old. Yep.
And he's
old. He
old.
looks it too. Dude got a lot of gray hair.
Milrose, the Giants' next QB, says Jaded AF.
I don't want any of these bums in this draft. I don't. What I want is for the Giants find a way to bring in Stafford and wait 2 years and then draft Arch Manning. All these guys in this draft are fucking bums. Cam Ward's a bum. Milroe's a bum. Shador Sanders is a bum. That dude from Old Miss, I don't even know. Jackson Dart, he's a fucking bum. They're all fucking bums. It's a very big departure from last year's quarterback draft class to this year's.
Yeah, 100%. But can you really do that? Can the Giants just be like, hey, we're going to be really shitty for a year and get Arch Manning?
Here's the thing. If they draft a rookie this year, you're going to have a similar situation like Chicago with Caleb Williams. If you draft a quarterback this year and you're trying to expect your rookie quarterback, like, you're not going to have a year like the Redskins had this past year with Jaden Daniels taking you to the NFC Championship. That's an anomaly. That's not going to happen for the Giants. So for Joe Schoen and Brian Dable to think that they're going to draft a quarterback and they're going to get their guy and that John Mara is going to give them more time with if they have a fucking another losing season this year, they're gone. And then what? The next regime with the next GM and the next head coach for the Giants, they're going to have to deal with this rookie quarterback that the previous regime drafted for the next 3 or 4 years.
Correct.
So they need to win now. So you need to go out and you need to trade for veterans for the Giants. If they want to keep their job, they need to get veterans and they need to win now. You're not going to do it by drafting a rookie quarterback and think that he's going to take it to the promised land. It ain't going to happen.
That's why I said like your mythical situation of tanking this year isn't going to happen because both your GM and your coach have to win. You know?
Or you just trade up in 2 years. 2 years you just trade up. Because I think Arch Manning was... He was still a freshman this year because he redshirted 2 years ago, so he was still technically a freshman this year. He's going into his sophomore season at Texas where he's going to be the starter. I think he's going to at least play to his junior year. So we got 2 more years of Arch Manning at Texas before he declares.
Okay. Do you think so you're betting on him being available 2 years from now?
In 2 years from now,
you want to be bad.
Or just straight up. Pull a Ricky Williams. Saints with Ricky Williams just fucking give up the hall.
Taker for 2. John Morant should dunk with a Glock in one hand. It'd be something we'd never seen before. Cole Hauser for 5. Hey, Ryan, Beardo, and John. To be fair, these fans are French Canadians, disliked by all of Canada. The NHL is still 70% Canadian. Praise Allah. Well, we just kicked your fucking ass, Cole Hauser. How about them apples? You guys booed our anthem. We came on your ice and we butt fucked you. Fuck Canada. Thank you, Cole Hauser. Taker for 2. Legion of Boom. The Legion of Boom, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, Cam Chancellor. I loved Cam Chancellor back in the day.
Dude, he was a fucking animal, bro. Cam Chancellor was so fucking good.
Cam Chancellor, Earl Thomas back there.
Earl Thomas, yep. And Richard Sherman high on Adderall every single fucking game when he was at his best.
I fucking hated Richard Sherman. Fucking hated him.
Well, he was only good when he was, on Adderall. Once the NFL banned that, his career very, very much declined after that.
There's a difference between guys who follow around and shadow the number one wide receiver and guys who stay on their fucking side.
Mm-hmm.
Like Sherman.
Yeah.
Sideless for 5. My captain and American hero, Dylan Larkin, stuck a dagger in Canada last night. Cheer up, Canada. When you become 51, you can see a Stanley Cup. Well, it is funny to troll Canada with they're never becoming a state. It's funny, though. No. Garth Knight for 5. McClung is like a special needs kid the NBA brings out to win dunk contests. In the spirit of those videos of them kids hitting 3-pointers. Like, not really. Because he's actually good, right? Like, he is the best fucking performer out there. But it's just such a weird scenario because they basically will like sign this dude to a fucking 2-way contract. You play in the G League the whole time, and when we need you, you'll be on our NBA roster so that you can participate in the dunk contest. It's weird. Stephen DeLeon, shout out West Texas, Bills Mafia. Stephen DeLeon rules all, says Stephen DeLeon. Sideless for 5. The Patrick Mahomes GOAT conversation wasn't as bad as when the media tried to manufacture Aaron Rodgers the GOAT during the Brady down years. Yeah, and like I know you said that you think the media was saying he's the GOAT now. I think that the vast majority of the conversation is talking about where does this put you on the road to becoming the greatest of all time? That, to me, that's what it was. And people argued about whether they think that Patrick Mahomes had the potential to be that at some point in time. And that is similar to the conversation about Aaron Rodgers after he fucking won one goddamn Super Bowl or whatever.
Yeah.
They were saying that if Mahomes won this Super Bowl and if they three-peated, that he was the GOAT.
I would love for you to show me the people who are specifically saying that and not saying this is setting him up to become the greatest of all time.
I think both can be true.
Probably like Nick Wright or somebody. I mean,
I don't have the fucking names of the tweets. This is just shit I'm seeing through scrolling because I don't watch your ESPN or your Fox Sports. I get everything on Twitter from
the thing
just
is also
insiders
for
and
me,
shit.
man, they completely forgot about Joe Montana. Mahomes ain't better than Montana right now.
No, well, if Patrick Mahomes had won his 4th Super Bowl and had three-peated and had matched Montana in terms of Super Bowls, granted having one loss on his record, and
One
doing
bad
all
one.
this at like 29 years old, I don't know, man.
How old was Montana when he won his last one? 1990. So he was 34?
Maybe.
I couldn't tell you. I wasn't
33.
alive.
I think 33 or 34.
If Patrick Mahomes had won this one, and these are all hypotheticals, right? If Patrick Mahomes had won this one and had three-peated, and it was now 4-1 in Super Bowls, I would, and he was 29 years old or whatever the fuck, I wouldn't sit there and like have a bunch of arguments about how, well, you can't put him past Montana yet. I don't know.
I'd have put him probably above Montana if that were the case. But then again, Montana's 4-0 in Super Bowls. Never lost.
Do an interception either.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
McCock just with 50 memberships. Did you
Let's
mean to do
freaking
that,
go.
McCock? 50? Is it supposed to be 5? Either way, we'll take them. 50 gifted Sports Wars memberships. Holy shit. Thank
Hell
you
yeah.
very much.
Let's freaking go.
And then says, what's y'all's Mount Rushmore of baseball? Mine's Nolan Ryan, Yogi Berra, Ken Griffey Jr., Shohei Ohtani. Put Shohei up there?
Shohei, not right now. That's too early. You definitely got to start with Babe Ruth. He's on there. Barry Bonds.
Are we putting guys like Bonds that have fucking steroids?
You got to put Bonds on there.
It's hard to not put Bonds.
Yeah. Ken Griffey Jr.
Pete Rose.
Yeah, that's a good one too. It's so hard, man, because there's
Hank
so
Aaron.
many. Yeah, man, it's tough. It's tough. If you want to go just like to simplify it, since
You got to have one pitcher on there. He's got Nolan Ryan on there.
Yeah, of course. Nolan Ryan.
Ryan was legendary.
Nolan Ryan, Pete Rose.
Roger Clemens.
Yeah, that's the question. Is like, are we building the perfect lineup for like their best season or whatever? Or are we taking the totality of their careers?
And I know this is recent history, but one of the greatest catchers of all time, Yachty.
Yadier Molina?
He's up there, bro. Maybe the best catcher of all time.
I would have to think about that. He's not in the Hall of Fame yet, is he?
No. He's only like 2 years removed from retiring.
I almost think you would have to put Pete Rose on there.
Of course you have to put Pete Rose.
Dead. How is Pete Rose dead?
Dude, I killed Pete Rose, bro.
You did, actually.
I did.
You specifically.
I was arguing about Pete Rose with Jeremy. Like, Jeremy decided to just show up on Sports Wars, and I'm arguing that Pete Rose is one of the best baseball players of all time in the MLB. And literally, like, 12 hours later, Pete Rose dies.
It was like the first time we talked about Pete Rose in, like, months and breaking news.
Yeah.
Yogi Berra.
Yeah, he's one of the all-time greats.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. I don't know too much about Yogi Berra's like numbers. You know what I mean? Other than these teams that he was on.
I think he had 10 championships.
It's so crazy because we're leaving off fucking like Gehrig and Mantle. Like we're not even mentioning them. Willie Mays wasn't mentioned. God,
But the thing is, baseball's
picking
Williams.
four
history,
baseball players is
baseball's
hard.
history is just so
It's
long, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you can make a case for Walter Johnson. You can make a case for Cy Young. But none of us saw him.
These guys that are fucking playing before 1900.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How many games did Walter Johnson win?
Cy Young, he was only throwing max speed of probably like 65 miles per hour.
Yeah.
It's true. A lot is about era. But we're going to make those arguments about Babe Ruth.
Well, I guess you could if you want to dig deep down into it. Yeah, Babe Ruth was hitting home runs off of dudes who were throwing 50 miles per hour.
Yeah, but Babe Ruth was also
now,
light years better than anybody.
Every pitcher throws 100 miles per hour now.
Babe Ruth is out there just being fat and shit and
smoking darts and eating hot dogs and fucking launching baseballs.
Yeah, that's the fucking way, man. We need to go back to those days.
Man, Walter Johnson won 417 games, which is crazy.
Sabathia just got in the fucking Hall of Fame by winning like 200 games or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cy Young, he won 511 games.
Yeah, those numbers are so crazy because
I know
it is
just,
right. Like the way people
the dead ball era, you know.
How many games did CC Sabathia win?
Plus also
251.
You also have to take into account we didn't have fucking Dominicans and Puerto Ricans and Japanese players in the MLB either. It was just fucking slow white dudes in the MLB. Could you imagine if Cy Young was pitching to fucking David Ortiz? Come on.
All right, where are we here? McCawk says Yogi Berra had 13 rings. That's crazy. What they did in their careers and their influence. That's what you're looking for. Yogi Berra batted 285 in his career. 59.5 WAR in his career. 30 stolen bases. Not exactly a runner. But God, that's a lot of fucking rings, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fucking rings. 3 MVPs. Alex McCarthy for 2. Send Rodgers to the Packers. I don't think they want him back.
No, I think they're just fine.
Mega Mr. 46 for 5. Speaking of Trump appearing at the Daytona 500, 2020 Cup champion Chase Elliott says he looks forward to his appearance. Well, you know what? We might as well talk about that, huh? If I can find it right here. And look, Donald Trump has made it no secret that he likes to attend big-time sporting events, especially things that are important to Americans that are out there. And the Daytona 500 is this weekend today, in fact. And Donald Trump is going to be there. Somebody isn't very excited about that. And that would be Bubba Wallace. Now, this is the same Bubba Wallace who called Trump a racist, who Trump and him had a very public feud back in 2020 when Bubba Wallace faked a hate crime, said I found a noose in my garage and it's racist. And the NASCAR people hate me because I'm half black and all this crap, right? Well, now Donald Trump is back in office and Bubba Wallace is back at the Daytona 500. And, Bubba Wallace just doesn't care about it. Doesn't care that Donald Trump is there. NASCAR's Bubba Wallace couldn't care less if President Trump attends the Daytona 500. Outspoken left-wing black NASCAR driver Bubba Wallace says couldn't care less if Donald Trump attends this year's Daytona 500 on February.
Funny, dude.
The president has hinted he might attend this year's race. And that has been confirmed, by the way. Trump is going to be going to the Daytona 500 unless something kind of radically changes or whatever. But yes, Bubba Wallace is like, I don't want to get into all these things. People just hate me for no reason, but I couldn't care less if Donald Trump is going to be there. Well, saying that in and of itself is already going to get you a lot of heat, Bubba, because look, it's the president of the fucking United States coming to the Daytona 500. It's a big, big deal. And look, I think Bubba Wallace is one of the most unlikable pieces of shit in sports, especially compared to with how well he actually drives, considering how much he fucking talks. But yeah, it's been an embarrassing couple years for Bubba Wallace after he outed himself as a woke, fake victim, piece of shit loser. And I'm sure he is actually very, very triggered that Donald Trump is going to be there.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, man. I mean, Bubba Wallace, he's all about the race script, man. And his actual words were, what are his actual words? I mean, again, I don't even remember.
I couldn't care less.
I couldn't care
about,
less.
How do you feel about Donald Trump attending? I couldn't care less.
That's the fucking president, bro. I bet you fucking Jinping went to fucking Daytona 500. Bubba Wallace would be honored.
Yeah,
I bet if Obama was there,
dictator of China there.
I bet if Obama was there, he had something nice to say about it. Or Kamala.
Yeah.
And she probably doesn't know what a Daytona 500 is. She have to fake it.
Daytona. Oh, I've had that line before.
In Daytona. That's what she thinks the number stands for. but yeah, as far as I know, Donald Trump will be there. He will be at the Daytona 500, and I imagine he will not be rooting for woke race grifter Bubba Wallace.
Somebody in chat said it was canceled because of rain.
Is it officially?
Really?
Delayed? Hold on.
Nah, they should have NFL rules. You play in the weather. Fuck it. If you crash, you crash. That's what you signed up for. Drive in the rain. Man up.
I mean, 1 minute ago, Donald Trump is en route to the Daytona 500.
Unless they're just messing with us in the chat. Somebody said it though.
I mean, it just like if it's raining too much, like they do delay them, they'll move it to the next day. But as far as I know, that hasn't happened. But could be wrong.
Now, chat's saying now they're trying to start early. They're trying to start an hour early because of the rain.
Oh, maybe that's true. As I said, I don't think certainly hasn't been canceled as of yet. The time was moved up 1 hour from the original 2:30 p.m. start date due to weather concerns.
There you go.
So it starts about an hour from now.
Cool. I won't be watching.
The Raven and Writing Desk member for 10 months. Thank you very much. Over on the Rumble side, we got $20. $20.
Let's go.
KW. Hendon Hooker or Matt Stafford to the Titans. Thoughts? Tighten up, go Vols, and fuck Bama. Well, I would definitely want Stafford. I would definitely want Matthew Stafford on my team. If I felt pretty much anything, right?
You'd rather have Matt Stafford than Aaron Rodgers at the moment.
Yeah,
I would.
Probably. I hate Aaron Rodgers, obviously, but I probably would too. But yeah, I mean, if the Titans could pull that off, I'm sure they'd be happy. I know the Steelers are looking at fucking Matthew Stafford potentially, possibly, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jose Contreras for $1. Prediction for next year's Kansas City team: over under 11 win season. Over.
Too early to tell, but you probably think they'll win 11, 12 games.
They'll be a lot healthier too. And they'll probably get better without Kelce on the field if he retires.
Over. Swift -1 for 2. What's worse, 18-1 or failed three-peat?
18-1 is
crazy
worse.
that we view both of them in such a negative light.
Yeah. 18-1 is worse.
18-1 is definitely worse because the Patriots were heavily favored in that Super Bowl. The Chiefs, it was a pick 'em in this Super Bowl, really. Chiefs were 1.5 point favorite.
Yeah, I think the spread started at around 1.5 and came down to 1. But yeah.
Yeah.
Cole Hauser for 2. Thanks, Beardo. Praise Allah.
Shout out Cole Hauser.
Eric K for 2. Montana 0 interception Super Bowl. Mahomes 7.
Yep.
McCawk. Oh, we said those ones, what they did in their career and their influence. Yogi Berra has 13 rings. That's a lot of fucking rings, bro. That's a lot of fucking rings. But I do think we're all caught up. We talked about Aaron Rodgers. We talked about NBA All-Star Weekend and the NHL with the 4-nation face-off, which is way fucking cooler.
Mm-hmm.
Which is way fucking cooler. We did have a couple baseball moves. We talked about John's Houston Astros. Kind of everybody's fucking leaving. Alex Bregman's going to the Red Sox.
Mm-hmm.
We already knew about Kyle Tucker, Ryan Presley going to the Cubs.
Verlanders to San Fran.
Yeah. And your boy Anthony Rendon's looking like he's going to have another great season for the Angels, right?
Yep, season-ending hip surgery for Anthony Rendon. But one of the worst free agent signings, and trust me, the Angels have had a lot of terrible free agent signings. Anthony Rendon's got to be one of the worst ones.
There's a video of Alex Bregman putting on his Red Sox jersey. It looks weird. It doesn't look right.
I want to see how many games he's played for the Angels. So, God, the last couple years, and it's wild because he was an MVP candidate that last year in Washington before you guys signed him.
Mm-hmm.
Since he went to LA, 52 games, 58 games, right? So that's 110 games. 43 games, 47 games. That's another 90, so that's 200 total, and 57 games. So he has not played 60 games in a season since he got there. And that's a total of 257 games played in 5 years.
Collectively, he hasn't even played 2 full seasons on the diamond. What a fucking bum.
That's crazy. But he
Fucking
did.
good.
Hold on. He did lead the league. He did lead the league somehow for the Angels in 2020 in a stat. You want to know what it was?
Errors?
No.
What's that?
Grounded into double plays 10 times.
There you go.
We should point out that 2020 was the strike shortened season.
Yeah.
Right,
So
yeah.
he, I forget how many games were actually played that year.
Like 80. I think it was 80 games that they played.
Rendon really hasn't done much since that 2019 World Series when he was just fantastic.
What are you talking about? He's gotten injured a lot.
Yeah, that too. But
No, that's what I'm saying. He's done a lot.
of things.
Yeah, he's done a lot of things. Yeah, he's gotten
Finds
injured.
you in interesting ways.
Yeah, and fights fans for calling him a bitch.
Or wait, did I say strike shortened season? I meant COVID shortened season.
Yeah.
I knew what you meant. I knew what you meant. Yeah,
It's COVID shortened season, not
It's
strike
60
shortened
games that season, I think.
60 games. Okay.
Dude, I have such a bad fucking cold right now. I'm gonna go on the injured list like Anthony Rendon. Save the doggos for $20. I heard it was free garage pull day at Daytona.
Mm.
Maybe it is. Maybe you'll find a special secret surprise. Maybe you'll find a special secret surprise. But that is going to be it for us, I believe. Yes, we're all caught up there. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Beardo, what you got going on, man?
Nothing much. I'm gonna smoke up some wings. That's about it.
There you go. John, what do you got going on, man, other than that cat walking around the background?
Oh, that's my dog, actually.
Oh, shit.
I didn't know she was in here. Yeah, just gonna be relaxing and watch some TV. Hang out.
There you go. Ash
There you
Ketchum says, Ryan, you're getting old. You're sick every other week. I'm specifically sick this week because of the convention and fucking shaking a million people's hands and everything and all that shit.
Bring that hand sanitizer.
It happens. But that's going to be it for us, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for listening to us. Blake Wheeler's burn account hire for me for Geeks Gamers Hockey, Ryan. Blake Wheeler, you're way too much of a queer to work for us. But send me your resume and I'll consider it. But thank you guys. We do appreciate it. And we'll talk to all of you later. Bye, everybody.
I guess.